Hi, Nina.
Hi, Steph. How you doing?
I am good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, this is one of your favorite topics, I think.
I think so, too, and I can't wait to dive into it and explain why it's become one of my favorite topics. So, as usual, let's just dive right in. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
So, is blogging dead? Is going to be our topic today, and to me, the answer is absolutely no, it's not, but it just has changed. The requirements have changed.
Yeah, because blogging's been around since, I feel like, the dawn of the internet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you still hear about, like, in the 90s movies, people blogging and typing their e-blogs and stuff. So it's been around for a while.
Yes, absolutely. Is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it. For me, it has been, and I kind of wanted to speak into this first point on is blogging worth it for your business? For me, it has been solely for the mental shift alone. I know I called Nina a few weeks ago, like, oh my gosh, Nina, we just have so many directions our business is going, and we're on this social platform and this social platform, it's not going well. So blogging has allowed me to move away from the mindset that I create for social media, and it's let me move into the mindset that we create for a blog. And it feels like I took our business and moved it off of the I-95, I-10 merger at 7:30 in the morning, which is chaotic and crazy, which is what social media is. And we moved it to like a nice back road in McClenny on a Sunday drive. It really, creating from the perspective of a blog, and we're going to dive more into that in just a little bit, has been a game changer for me mentally. I don't feel this rat race of, oh, I've got to create this reel. I've got to get this many likes. There's got to be this many saves, this many shares. Like, when I decided to create from the perspective of our content will be housed in the hub of a blog, the mental freedom that came along with that has been...
Right. I mean, because you're not necessarily dealing with, like, the algorithm like you are on, like, the social media sites, and you get to, like, pick your own topics and do what you want to do. So
yeah, and we're going to dive into that. But for me, the mental shift alone has been worth it. And yes, does it have the clout or the sexiness of getting viral likes or whatever? Probably not, but I love the freedom that it allows. I love how quiet it feels. And so for me, just creating a blog and then working out from that has been a game changer in time management, mental shift, just so many things. And we're going to dive into that in a few moments. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. And then the other reason is exactly what Nina said, stands the test of time.
Right.
I mean, people have been creating blogs since the internet came about. It was very quick and very fast, and so it's just really stuck around, just like email marketing. So it also has an ability to be discoverable many, many, many years later.
Right, because it's not like, you know, once your Instagram post goes, like, after, like, a couple days or weeks, it kind of gets cycled down, and unless they go to your page to view it, you're not going to see it. But if you have the right, like, search engine optimization and those right keywords, you could be, I mean, sometimes I'll be reading a blog post or an article that's from, like, the early 2000s, and I was just like, oh,
right.
Maybe, you know, I don't even notice. So that stuff, it can always be found on the internet forever. Like they say, once you put it on the internet, it's there forever. You can't get
Right. Yeah. Social media does a great job of burying it. Blogs does a great job of keeping it at the very surface level to be discovered. I think about my Pinterest pins. Mm-hmm. I literally refer back to the same 10 or 15 Pinterest pins that I've had for 10 years. Since, it might be a recipe or how to make something. No,
now that you mention it, I am obsessed with this, like, vegan black bean chili. And I remember it was one of the first recipes I tried when I switched to being vegan. And I am so thankful that blogs are forever, because even though I've made that chili probably 100 times now over the past 7 or 8 years, I'm so glad that recipe is still there on the bottom of that blog post for me to keep Googling every time I make it, because I never can remember exactly how to measure all the ingredients. And if I go rogue, it does not always go well when I'm cooking. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, they just stand the test of time. So you're like, well, what is the difference between a website and a blog? That might be your first thought. The only real difference is the only real difference between a blog and other types of website is that blogs are updated on a regular basis with new content. So there is a level of commitment to a blog. But just like you might have a level of commitment to Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, don't let that deter you. And we really are going to dive into how you can make this work in just a few moments. So That is the big difference. A website tends to be a lot more static. It just keeps the same information. It's pretty general, very minimal updates.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to do just because it say that the blog is updated consistently, it doesn't mean that you have to do a blog post every single day.
Right.
You're the boss of your own updating.
Right.
It'd be nice to do it on a very consistent basis,
and that is key for sure. Just like social media, it does tie back to that consistency. Whatever you want as your result is always found on the other side of consistency and how fast you want to get there. So just like social media, more likely the more you engage, the more you post, the quicker you'll probably get there. The same exact ways with blog, but you are the boss, as Nina said.
Yeah.
So there's some major advantages to having a blog, and we'll speak into that. The first is the ability to be an authority figure, and most successful people have some form of blog. They might not call it a blog. They might call it a resource guide, or they might have another fancy name. But essentially, it's a consistent update of what's going on within their business or organization or their personal brand.
Right.
So it gives them a chance to be an authoritative figure. It increases your search engine optimization. I would not have a website unless I had an active blog, or I could afford paid ads, or I could pay someone to optimize my SEO. So because we're a smaller company, the blog really drives up our search engine optimization.
Absolutely. And
you want to be on the front of that Google ranking page, especially if you're in the real estate business, which is a lot of our listeners are. 97% of home buyers start their search on the internet. So to get yourself on that first page of Google is really important to come up. So.
Right. Because as important as social media is, a lot of times people aren't searching for even if they may do an Instagram search or a Facebook search for real estate, a lot of times they're still going to follow up with at least that Google search. And if you're easy to find on the internet, that just adds credibility and that adds, trust.
Yeah, and cohesiveness as well. I mean, people will buy a t-shirt, I feel, from a dancing, funny reel or video. I just don't know the likelihood of someone buying a home from that, but they would buy a home from a well-written blog. So just using the SEO to make sure that you can be found. The other thing is you get to make the rules. Oh, I love this one. This is the biggest reason, like I spoke earlier with the mental mindset and just making that shift, is I get to make the rules on the blog. Like, what I want to talk about goes. Now, there is some algorithms that deal with SEO, so I do not want to lie to you and not tell you that there's an algorithm to search engine optimization. But other than that, I get to do what I want, and I get to format how I want, and it's beautiful. The next thing is you can monetize it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And if it's online forever, then, you
can monetize for a really long time. Residual
income. You can be
making
money while you're sleeping.
Absolutely. And that's our biggest thing. It's not censored. Now, we don't put out controversial content.
At least we hope we don't.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you feel that way.
But, we do our best. And not to say that you can't, or not even to say that we are trying to push you to put a bunch of stuff that would normally be censored on Instagram or Facebook. We're not saying go too crazy, but at least you don't have to be super concerned about what, because I know, there's, some trigger words that you might not be allowed to use, and you're, on, TikTok especially, they won't let you say certain things that could be normal words, but you'll get flagged, especially if you're in a video and you say that word. I don't know why. Well, even the only ones I'm thinking of are kind of bad, so I'm not going to say them right now.
But COVID was a word, and good or bad, however you feel about COVID, this is not a COVID discussion, but, if I just wrote on there, I have COVID, that could be really flagged in certain instances on Instagram. They went through a period where they were really cracking down on COVID.
Right. Yeah, because it's a computer filter that's filtering out these things.
It's not a person.
So you could be inadvertently saying something and it just gets filtered out, but we don't have that issue when you're on your own blog post.
Right. I love that. And we don't even post controversial things, but I just love the fact that I don't have to worry about censorship. And then the analytics are amazing when it comes to a blog or a website in general. So,
right, especially if you can get it set up in the back end, and when you're setting up the blog, if you can get Google Analytics set up, it's so easy. And I mean, she'll always send me screenshots of people who've been looking at the page and stuff. It's really easy to keep it up to date, and you get all this information about who's viewing your page.
So I guess it is kind of like Instagram in the sense, the clout. We say, oh, you get so excited when you get these likes or views. Well, we kind of get that way with Google Analytics.
But also, that's just for us. Yeah. It's for us. It's not like we have to impress our neighbor with our Google Analytics unless we can save a screenshot, but they're not expecting it,
Yeah, but I loved it. Like, when we hit 2,000 views on our website, like, y'all, I did, as my brother says, the Carlton dance, like, off of Fresh Prince. Like, I was so excited. In the days where it's not, or the months where our website views are down, it's not out there for the world to see. So I know, hey, like, I'm the only one who knows this. We can work through this. Like, I don't know. I love the mental shift of coming off social media. Not to say we're not on social media, and I'm going to explain how we do that in just a minute. So before we dive in to actually the life cycle of a blog in our business, how it really works, I want to mention one more thing, and I don't want you to get angry at us. I know I feel like we already hit you hard with trying to encourage you to get a blog, and now I'm going to tell you that your blog needs some form of video. Do not X out. We're going to help you with this. Like,
don't be afraid of the video. I'm afraid of anything recorded.
But you're here doing a podcast.
I'm here.
So I just want you to know that, the video needs to coincide with your blog. We talked about the very first sentence or the very first paragraph of this opening is blogging dead? No, it's not dead, but it's just changed.
And there's definitely a lot of, like, what is it called? The vlogs, the video blogs, especially on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But not saying you have to have a vlog to have a blog.
Right.
But the video component definitely adds to it.
Yes, absolutely. So today you see us referring a lot to notes because I wanted to make sure I got this right, and I want to give people a tangible way to work this through their business, and I was just so afraid we would miss something. So we're going to show you how this can be done, and you actually will reduce time, and you will be able to live on the internet for a really long time, and you will have video, and then everything else will feel so much easier, and the weight will be lifted off.
And what's nice, too, about having a blog is that you have a central place with a lot of most of your ideas and your thoughts, and then you can use your blog to then make an Instagram post.
Right, and that's what we're diving into. Yes, absolutely. That's the biggest thing to me.
It's like a nice, like, central point to then do the small branching off of. So instead of having this big weaving mass of projects that you're working on, you have that one central blog that you then use to create more things.
Absolutely. Nina nailed it. Like, so I'm going to carry you through exactly how this works because I created a blog yesterday, and so I want to tell you what that will look like. So my blog topic yesterday was, is blogging dead? Duh, because we were recording this on video, and so it's going to match perfectly. Now, let me back up just a second. This is where planning out your content does come into play. Right. I knew that I needed to write the blog post to match this podcast / video because we do record our podcast as well.
Right. So check us out on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever they say. You can find us there. Hit us up. And so, of course, I wrote a blog post on Is Blogging Dead, knowing we were going to come in today, and you bet your bottom dollar they will be linked together because that's called backlinks, and it drives up search engine optimization, but that is a podcast for another day. So, wrote a blog post on this yesterday, came in today, and I'm recording a podcast. I know what you're thinking. Well, Stephanie, I don't have a podcast, but you can definitely take that blog you wrote, and it would become your video script instead. Pop up that iPhone or that Android, and you're going to talk about the thing that you created the blog about. So let's go back to real estate, and you write up a blog post that says the top 5 best ways to stage your home. Okay, that's great in written form. But then to sit down in front of the camera, you're going to record it can be short form, the 15 to 30 second videos, which that's really hard to do, but you can just pop up the 5 ways with some written font, or you can do a long form 5-minute to an hour-long video on this topic. So those two things go hand in hand. You don't even have to think about what to say on video because you wrote it out in a blog form.
Right, exactly.
So super easy. So then what I do is I immediately, once I have my video and my blog, so those have to go together, I go to Canva. And if you don't have Canva, like,
check it out. Even like the free version, love Canva. It's just fun. It's like, remember when when you first got access to Microsoft programs and you would go on PowerPoint and just make fun PowerPoints? You can do that with Canva too. It's just fun.
I'm older than you, so it was when I got the Paint, like the Paint.
Oh, no, I remember the Paint too.
Like on Microsoft, like you would just go on there. So it's essentially the 30-year later version of Paint.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are endless. So I go to Canva and I immediately make my blog cover and my video thumbnail cover match. So because I'm going to upload my video to YouTube in all instances, you should be on YouTube. It drives up SEO. This is an episode for another day. Google owns YouTube. So when they're like, hey, you're on our other platform, let's bump you on up there. So in my life, created the blog, made the video, went to Canva, created the 2 thumbnails. And I'm going to go then take that thumbnail and I'm going to post it on Pinterest as well. You have to be on Pinterest if you're going to have a blog.
Right. Pinterest is so good for driving traffic to your websites or to your blog. I feel like that's where we get most of our...
Oh my gosh, over 60% of our web traffic comes from Pinterest. It is a non-negotiable to me. So created the blog, filmed the video. So I'm trying to put myself in your shoes from someone who might not have a podcast. And then I go and I create my cover. So my blog photo cover, which will go right up on my website, my thumbnail cover, which will go right up on YouTube. They all match. They're all cohesive. And then I create my Pinterest pin. The really cool thing about Canva is you just create one cover and you hit resize. And it resizes the same image to the platform it's going on because Pinterest requires a different size than YouTube does versus Instagram versus your blog cover. So they're all different sizes, but you just create one image and then you hit resize. And
Canva will do it for you.
Yeah, it'll resize it for any. So then I go to Pinterest. I put up the pin. I write about 5 sentences about what my topic is. And then I put a link back to my website to read the blog. Once you're on the blog, there's my blog post. But at the bottom is a link to my video. So now you went from Pinterest to my blog to my video. Within my video and on my blog, there's a link to my Instagram. So I take that blog or that video and I splice it up onto Instagram at that point. I do not reinvent the wheel. I take everything I've created for that blog and it then starts to disperse, as Nina was saying at the start of this topic, it disperses amongst other social profiles.
Right. So then at the end of this process, you still have, all of it's cohesive. It's all similar. So if you're working on your personal brand, which we have a podcast on that too, but that way you can have it consistent and you can be on multiple different platforms. Now you have Instagram content to post this week or this day, and you don't have to keep, going back to Canva and making all these, spending all this time making content for your different social media accounts. You can just take this one big project and break it up into multiple things and then spend your energy doing other stuff.
So I also take the blog and I do trim it down pretty good, and it goes out as an email newsletter. So, and then it goes on, like she said, Instagram, Facebook. We post on TikTok, but not consistently enough to call us having a presence on TikTok.
I wouldn't expect us to go too viral anytime soon, but you might see us on your For You page.
You know, maybe.
Especially if you have our phone number saved in your phone.
Yeah, then you could find us. But other than that, we're not killing it over there. But
maybe.
What I do post over there is portions or snippets of my long form YouTube videos. I'm not going to go out and create special YouTube and Instagram videos. I'm just not doing it. So I create...
You don't really need to.
Right. And one 8-minute video can give me anywhere from 8 to 15 reels or TikTok videos. So that just it's a no-brainer for me. And then it goes into the newsletter. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, you're just repeating yourself a million times over. You bet your bottom dollar we are, because the average views on your Instagram is only 3% of your audience. So only 3% of the people are actually seeing your content. I want to if I spent 3 hours or 5 hours, it took me 5 hours to write our blog yesterday because there was a massive component of research. If I spend 5 hours, I want to make sure it gets in the hands of everyone it can. So that's why it goes out in a newsletter. That's why it goes out on my website. That's why it goes on Instagram, sometimes TikTok, always YouTube.
Right. And I can't remember where I got this from, but I know this is something I remember my high school teacher would say it, but you need to see something or experience it 7 times to know it. So, just get 7 different social media platforms and there you go.
There you go. Create a blog, go 7 different ways.
So don't feel bad about giving your audience the same information multiple times, because apparently, according to science, they need to hear it at least 7. So as long as you're not doing it too much,
Dillard's does not feel bad about doing it to you. Nike does not feel bad about doing it to you. As a small business, do not feel bad. And this is a podcast for another day, and we're already eating up time, so I can't go into it, but I just feel bad. Do not feel bad. You're a business owner running a business. This is not a personal thing. We're talking about personal brand on another podcast, but this is a business decision, so do not feel bad.
And if you're making them feel that bad, they'll tell you, they'll let you know.
Yeah, they'll unfollow, and those aren't your people. But people who need your service, they crave your information. If I was going to buy a house and I already kind of had a realtor in mind or was going to be using a realtor in the next 6 months, I would be viewing their stuff like a sponge. Like I wouldn't be able to get enough. If I'm not going to buy a house, then I might mute you or might not. I might unfollow you, but which is wonderful because you don't want to waste your time on cold leads, and you want warm, hot leads. And people who are warm and hot, they are going to soak you up.
Right. They're going to look forward to your posts and be waiting for them.
Absolutely. And so we're going to move forward because we've kind of worked through the ways we put this out into the world. But I did want to give a few real quick stats on Pinterest. Pinterest sees a 7.5% year-over-year growth. It is increasing rapidly. COVID really propelled the growth of it. Pinterest is becoming a little bit more of a platform where they want you to stay on it and not direct you out all the time to websites. So you do need to create some mixed content for it.
Because a lot of times Pinterest used to be, I feel like the original design was that you would click on these different little tiles and then that would send you to a different website, which is great for driving the website traffic, but they are trying to keep you on the website longer.
But still, again, all I do is just take the blog and then copy and paste it right on to there. And I don't care if they stay on Pinterest because they still have ways to come and find me, and I link those up.
And Pinterest is still driving a lot of website traffic.
Oh gosh, tons. 85% of weekly users have made a purchase from Pinterest pins. That's incredible. And
that's a big percentage.
That's huge.
Is a lot.
I'm like,
that's what? More than just the majority.
When I meet someone with a website and they're not on Pinterest, when I meet someone with a business and they're not on Pinterest, my mind literally, if they don't have Pinterest and they don't have email marketing, I can't deal. But anyway, we're going to keep moving forward on that.
I promise Stephanie's nicer than she sounds right now.
I know, because I just get really excited and passionate. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have these things? But no big deal. It's okay. We'll get there. That's what we're here for. All right. So how do you create a blog? What is the actual first step? What are you going to do? I would start very similar to content pillars, how you do on Instagram, starting out. I would create blog pillars and I would post within those. Now, within each pillar, there needs to be a level of research.
Explain what you mean by pillar.
So a pillar is like your topics that you're going to post within. So I can give you an example if you were going to be a real estate agent doing this.
So imagine like an outline or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're writing like an essay, like an outline would be.
Well, kind of. It's your topics that you're always going to have. One could be new properties. That can actually be a blog post. Wedding photographers do this all the time. They will take wedding photos and they will upload it to their website under the blog portion, write about 5 sentences about the couple and call it a blog post. It's not even that long form. They're just driving up their search engine optimization and they're letting you see their product. You can do the same with houses. Post your house, copy and paste your MLS description. Okay. That's a pillar. So one of your pillars is every week or every time you get a new property, you're going to put that right on your blog.
Okay, I understand.
You can talk about the neighborhood if you really want to add value to it. It gives you a chance to be much more creative than what the MLS will allow. Okay. A next pillar that you could talk about would be the current state of the real estate market. So every week you're going to post a constant update of the state of the real estate market. That would be another pillar. And then I had another one written down. The community. Talk about things going on with your community. That's a wonderful SEO driver. Plus, it keeps you informed and you become the resource for your community.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you rotated topics within those 3 pillars consistently, you wouldn't really have much to, you would never run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely. The next thing is once you set that up, you're going to need to decide where you're going to host it. I highly recommend self-hosting your blog. That way you have complete freedom. We do ours through WordPress, and it's so easy. Now, if you have a Squarespace or a Wix website, you can just link right in your blog. It's so easy because it's self-hosted. You have a ton of freedom. The next thing is you're going to actually need to create the content. You, at minimum, want 500 words.
And that sounds like a lot, but once you get going, it's not too bad.
No, 500 words is literally a drop in the bucket. After the
it's shorter than some people's Facebook posts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine. I think she was alluding to me. But yeah. So you're going to want to start creating your content. Absolutely. Then once you create your content, you're going to need to work in tandem with your social media profiles. One is not better than the other. Am I telling you that, you need a blog, you need a blog? Yes, but I still don't think it's superior to Instagram. It's just allowed me to create content in a better way for our business.
Right.
But it definitely works in tandem. We post, it feeds my Instagram content. It feeds it directly. It also is where I ask you to go back to my website. I put it out there. Hey, just created this awesome content. Go check it out. It needs to coincide with your social media and feed it as well. So that would be kind of my other big piece of advice. I promote my blog across every social channel because we're a marketing company, but I cannot ask you to do that as an individual unless you pay someone to do it. So pick your 1 to 2 platforms, couple that with your blog.
Yeah, pick a few that you know that you can show up on and be consistent and just always post them there.
Another great place to utilize once you've got your blog up and running is email marketing. Now, if you don't have an email list, that needs to start on the day that you start the blog. They need to work in complete unison together. Yeah. Our blog and email list work together. I ask for emails on the blog. I take the blog, I email it out. It works very fluid together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And plus, you can use that email list for so many things. We really got to do a podcast on email marketing. So we talked to you a little bit about how to create a blog. I didn't go into the big technical components of it because there's just so many awesome YouTube videos that would explain this a lot better. Our job is more of just explaining the marketing side of it. But get on YouTube, search that topic, literally.
DM us, we'll help you.
Yeah, we'll help you. Absolutely. I can send you some great videos that I've found. And then the other thing, too, in which we alluded this back up earlier, is just remember when you write the content, it is forever. So you can go back and amend it if things change, or you can give a disclaimer.
Right.
So don't worry about that if you need to go back and do that later. All right. And let's wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up with some blog mistakes that we see.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the first one, Nina?
Yeah, I would say the number one is definitely ignoring the power of SEO and not trying to make sure that you're optimizing the way that you are coming up on search engines, because that's, I feel like, one of the major benefits to having a blog. So not making sure that you're using the right keywords to show up when people are doing Google searches, you're losing so much of the value of having the blog right there. So even if the first few times that you're writing it, you're reaching out to an SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, if you weren't familiar, like someone who does that professionally to make sure that you're getting those keywords, definitely do that.
Yeah, I had someone professionally come in and look at ours and give me some advice.
Yeah, because there's definitely like a science to it. And my dad, he works in IT, and he says, like, because he'll solve these really complex computer problems, and I ask him, like, how do you do that? How do you know? And he's like, it's just knowing how to Google or how to search something. So if he says that most of his job is knowing how to search something, most of our job now is trying to figure out how to be searched, how to be found when people are typing in, because it's
right. You're not telling people what you want to tell them. You're telling people what they search. So you got to think from the search point, and then that's how you write. That's exactly how I write.
Isn't that how Jeopardy is?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're going to write
Jeopardy.
like Jeopardy. Yeah, absolutely. The next thing is using AI for your blogs. I love AI. Oh my gosh, AI has totally changed my life, my business. Absolutely. But not for the one thing that I'm building the back of my business on. I cannot trust that to a computer. Right. I need my voice. I need to write it how I want to write it. Right. Use AI for so many other things, but don't use AI for that.
Absolutely.
Poor design is the next one. People purchase with their eyes. Yeah. I will admit that our blog isn't, I like our website, but our blog is under a revamp because people buy with their eyes, and I recognize that. My information is, I feel really good and powerful.
It's really great. It's really great.
But people buy with their eyes. So we're doing a revamp of the blog.
Yeah, getting the aesthetics on point.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to create all that, just buy a template off of Etsy or just Google WordPress blog templates, and there's a million, and they're beautiful, and they're very cheap. So just go that route. The next thing I just said is not building an email list from the start.
Right, an organized email list.
An organized email list, yes, absolutely. And then the most commonly asked questions we see, is there an oversaturation of blogs?
Well, yeah, there is. There's an oversaturation of blogs. There's an oversaturation of gas stations. There's an oversaturation of people probably living in your neighborhood.
There's an oversaturation of human consumption, of real estate agents, of unspayed and neutered dogs. We could go through the list of things in life that are oversaturated. But when it comes to a business perspective, consistency, cohesiveness, and authenticity will win out every time.
Right, absolutely.
Every time.
And you don't
And
need to be, you don't have to, your blog doesn't have to be read by every single person. You don't have to get 90% of the viewer or the audience. You just have to get enough people.
right, if you're in the real estate business and you want to close 70 deals, there's only 70 people out of 8 billion people on planet Earth that would need to read your blog or see your content or whatever to connect with you. So don't get so massive in your head. There's an oversaturation of everything, but does that mean you should quit living and just climb under a rock? Absolutely not. Do the thing, whatever that is in life. Like, we're going to get on a little soapbox for here. Don't let oversaturation stop you. Be committed, decide to be the best at it, and just go hard, and you will get there. So I will go ahead and answer this question. How long is the average return on investment? How long does it take to get traction? If you wanted to monetize, how long does it take to monetize? How long does it take to become a resource for people? Statistically, with consistency, 18 months. But if you plan to be in your business for the next 10 years, then get started today. In 18 months, you'll be the leader in that thing that you're creating. So
right, and it might sound like it's a big task now, but once you kind of get into that habit of doing it, I feel like Stephanie likes writing the blog posts.
I love them.
Right. It's almost like professional journaling, It's like having a little diary, but like your work stuff, your little business.
And I love that I feel like I'm solving something, because I do think of it of like from the content of how would someone search this, and I'm like, man, I'm solving Karen's problem. I mean, I don't actually know a Karen, but I'm just saying, like, I'm solving her problem. I'm going to be her hero today. Like, I think of it in the lens of my reader, and that's exciting.
My superhero.
Thank you. And then I just love that I don't have to worry about the rules of Instagram. I just get to create, and then it's going to flow out there, like, I don't know, my favorite part. And then how do you monetize? You have to get in with ad agencies. You need a minimum of 25,000 views at minimum. So start today. I mean, hey, have your mom, your grandma look, you can get your first 100 easy.
Absolutely.
It just comes work after that. But why not get started if it's something that you're passionate about?
And even if you don't end up monetizing it and getting all those views, it still adds credibility to your business. So when you do go and hand out your business cards, and when your clients do search you on the internet, then they see how you have all this vast information cataloged for 18 months or however many months that you've been doing it.
Right.
And I just feel like that adds so much trust and credibility, and it shows that you aren't just, even if you are, in it for the money, like it shows that you care about it and you're interested in it, and you're not just clocking in and clocking out every day.
I heard something once, and it would pertain back to blogs. It said you should always have an Instagram story up, because it shows that you're home. It shows, like, if you go to someone's Instagram and they don't have a story going, you assume that they're not active, which is not true. That's so crazy. But the mental shift.
I assume that.
I know, but it's true. It's true. But it's crazy that we think like that, but we just crave that consumption. So it's the same with your blog. If I show up and I was like, man, she just updated this last Wednesday. She's home. She's in it. Yeah, and that's what that speaks to. Yeah. So it does the same exact thing as that an Instagram story would do. It shows that you're home. It's like podcasts. When I see someone hasn't recorded a podcast in 8 weeks, I'm like, man, they're not home. They're gone. Where'd they go? Anyway, that is our topic for today. Please DM us with questions. It is so much of a richer topic than this. And I feel like we maybe didn't do it justice in all the levels, especially the technical.
Right. Well, Stephanie feels that way because she loves it, and she can talk about it all day. So
okay, all right. That's true.
No, she's true. We could honestly do another podcast on it. We could talk about it more. But because blogging it's vast, it's exciting, it's been around for a while.
There's nothing that you don't Google that a blog doesn't come up. I mean, anything you Google.
Right. And I feel like I'm getting to the point now where there's so many like sponsored ads that I'm looking for those blog posts. Like, that's what I want to try and find.
Right. I want to find a real person who tells me. So absolutely. All right. That's our episode for today. Yeah. Did want to finish up real quick. We booked a class yesterday, Nina and I, and very excited. And just wanted to let you know, if you're a listener and you especially live here in North Florida, but we're willing to travel and you want to book a class within your organization or your office when it comes to marketing, that is what we specialize, is in-person teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have already a few classes designed out, but we are always adding more to our list, and we're always trying to create more classes for us that we can.
Yeah, and if you see a class that you want to marry with another one, we can always do that for you. It's no problem. So if you're a listener and you're like, hey, I want to get you in my office, I want you to speak more into this subject or topic, or you want to hear a list of classes we have, just DM us, find us on social profiles, email us.
Visit our
blog.
You
could go to our blog. Oh, there's a link at the bottom to email or contact us. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.